Jake, hello, welcome to the first episode of Scaling Europe. I'm thrilled to have you. How are you doing?
I'm really good, Seb. How are you doing?
Pretty good. How's your week been?
Yeah, week's been good. Getting some good traction at the moment, and then we did our raise this week, so it's been great getting all the feedback and press. So that's been really exciting this week.
Nice. Well, look, before we get into the raise, why don't you give a quick intro into who you are and what you're building?
Yeah, so I'm Jake. I'm one of the 3 co-founders at Meshed. I kind of spent my whole career in insurance, started off in underwriting, moved more into product management, and kind of built a whole array of broker distributed products, embedded insurance products, from smaller MJs all the way to large kind of blue chip American insurance companies across MJs and brokers. And what I'm building at the moment with the team is an AI native commercial insurance broker. We really want to level the playing field in service, and we think that AI can unlock that. I think right now brokers can give some amazing service, but this is kind of typically reserved to those bigger accounts. And there are a huge array of kind of small and medium-sized businesses in the UK that maybe don't get the attention that they need. Not because the brokers don't care, they 100% do. It's literally because they don't have the time. And there's kind of the data that comes out of broker reporting kind of backs it up. I think that 70% of brokers say that they're stressed and overworked. So about 56% of their time goes on menial admin tasks. And I've never met a broker that likes admin. And we really believe that we can kind of strip that admin out through some of our kind of new agents that we're building across voice agents and browse agents, so that we can have more time with our human brokers with customers. So yeah, and that kind of means.
Are you equipping brokers with like agentic tools? Is that who you're going after?
A little bit. So we are a broker. So we are regulated by the FCA as an appointed rep, and come November 3rd, we'll be fully authorized by the FCA. So yeah, so we're basically building tools to make our internal brokers that are meshed faster and better. It's been good. It's been interesting. I did a lot of that, which was new to me. We have an amazing consultant called Chris, and she worked with us on that. We've kind of effectively done it twice. So we had to do our appointed rep piece. We had a principal broker champion up in Manchester who have been incredibly helpful throughout the process, which was great. That took about 6 weeks, I think. With a lot of back and forth, a lot of documents, and then the direct authorization was a lot bigger. I think I must have created over 100 different documents for that to get authorized. But now it's all done, and from the 3rd of November, yeah, we'll be fully authorized by the FCA.
Amazing, exciting stuff. The first startup I ever worked at was in like the insurance space. It was called Collective Benefits, and that's called Onzi. But yeah, like there's a lot that you've got to do to get. Like you've got to dot your I's and cross your T's to make sure that you're in a position to get regulated.
Exactly.
Can you talk me through like a few real life use cases where maybe your brokers would use your tool to strip away that admin, as you mentioned?
Yeah, so we've got some really great use cases within our property area at the moment. So it was taking quite a considerable amount of time to do property broking. We don't use a system like Actress. A lot of brokers will have the system called Actress. We will go kind of directly to the underwriters in that, and we wanted to build our own technology for that. And that means that now, instead of having Luca, let's say, go and rekey information across the same 10 systems, you're going to go Seb, accountant into all of these different systems. And what we've got is some browse use agents with the help of another guest that you had on the previous show, David and his team at Asteroid have been kind of helping us if we're pushing the boundaries of those browse use agents, which has been pretty cool. So we've got that working. And then also with some voice agents. So we were getting a lot of leads that were coming in, and we kind of needed to get to them quickly. So what we would do is we'd just have a voice agent that would answer that phone within a millisecond, speak to that customer and say, "Hey Seb, just got your details through. Would love to chat to you more." And then it would patch it through to me, Luca, or Mark, and it would dial out. So things that were like taking away time or context switching, we're really looking to kind of remove those. And that property process, we kind of brought that down from about an hour to about 9 minutes now. So that's kind of one of the great use cases we've seen so far with the agents.
Amazing, yeah, very cool that you're working with David and Asteroid as well. Yeah. One of the things that you've spoken about a lot about is fixing the problem of underinsured SMEs. Can you talk a little bit more about what that problem is and why you think it's important?
Yeah, so underinsurance is a massive problem in the market. It depends on whose data you use from any of the big insurers, Aviva, Allianz. It's between about 40 and 80% of SMEs are underinsured. And that kind of happens for a number of different reasons. It might be some owners thinking that they can save some money by kind of undeclaring or trimming cover. maybe the broker hasn't had time to catch up with that client and maybe just does an annual check-in and doesn't catch these things until they're having their kind of renewal review, or customers are just too busy and they don't understand that they need to tell their broker that these things have changed. And the example that I kind of use is I live in London, and a lot of restaurants get quite popular quite quickly if it's gone viral on TikTok or it's been on Top Chart or something. So if you had a restaurant that was kind of ticking over nicely, then suddenly you've got this amazing review and you've got queues out the door, your turnover is going to increase quite significantly. And if you haven't notified your insurer about that, if there was a fire in the kitchen and there was a business interruption claim, what the insurer would be paying out would be what it was when you took the policy out. But you might have hired new staff, you might have bought a new kit, and you could be in a little bit of a problem. So we really want to kind of remove that piece for small businesses, because it's never nice to find out when it's too late.
And so what's your, I don't know, like your solution for finding these people or convincing them, or even just letting them know, maybe they don't know that they're underinsured? How are you tackling that sort of like knowledge gap?
Yeah, so we predominantly want to do that a lot through data. So a lot of the key drivers around that are going to be around kind of turnover, payroll, or one of our advisors has a terrible story of a printing press company that he looked after. They spent a few $100,000 on a bit of machinery, didn't tell the insurer about it. Claim happened. They were like, "What's this?" The customer was like, "We just bought it." They were like, "We never told us about it, so we can't pay out on it." So yeah, if we can capture this from your banking data, from your accounting platform, and then hopefully in the future, if like restaurants have all of these amazing POS data, if we can kind of tap into that, we can monitor these changes in real time and say, "Hey Seb, looks like business is booming. What's happened?" If you're a manufacturing client, maybe you got a new contract that you're fulfilling. If you're a restaurant, maybe something crazy happened. Great review. So if we can stay on top of that through the data, then that's how we can kind of notice those changes and send that to the businesses.
Amazing. Is that the vision, is to be live in your customers' clients' data real time, so you can immediately see changes in the business?
Ideally, yeah. So yeah, immediately be able to identify and suggest those changes in the businesses. Same with like gaps. If we've got a customer that hasn't had cyber insurance and maybe they're an accounting customer, and we, I don't know, get some notification from some of the cyber insurers that these gangs are going after accounting customers, then we can say, "Hey, look, we noticed that you guys don't have cyber cover, and a couple of accountants have been hit for ransomware attacks. Like, I think this is something we should be looking at," and kind of notice those gaps as well. But yeah, definitely the more kind of connected we can get in with their data, the better, because it also just means we can be proactive and they can just focus on what they're good at and running their business, and we can focus on what we're good at, which is kind of insurance broking.
Yeah, got it. Makes sense. And what stage are you at in terms of your product development, go to market?
Yeah, so we're early. So we as a broker couldn't do anything really until we were authorized by the FCA. So that kind of happened back in towards the start of this year, Q1. We've got some good customers now. So we've got some early customers we're into double digits, which is good. Our main areas of traction have been around our go to market, insurer partnerships, and our application of AI. In terms of our go-to-market, we've got two routes, one of which we're leveraging more of the agents on, and a second bigger one is partnerships. So we're really looking for good partners to work with on that. We've got some amazing ones kind of signed up so far, who are kind of submitting business to us, which is really good. Insurers as well. So again, one of our investors was a strategic investor. What we want to do is really nail distribution. And then once we've nailed distribution, we want to identify where in there is problems. So if we've got a load of manufacturers, we go and speak to them. My background's products, so we go and speak to them, because as a broker, we're basically distributing products that exist from the insurers. But when we can move up that level and say to our insurer partners, "Hey, look, we've been speaking to our manufacturers and they really think that the times have changed since these policies have been created. Let's work with them and with us and create amazing products that we can then feed back into our distribution vehicle, and then say to our brokers and our sales team, go and sell this product to all the manufacturers in the UK." So that's good traction with Aviva on that side of things. And we've got a couple of early conversations with 3 other insurers now for some other products. And then finally, the AI piece.
Yeah, amazing. Can we just touch on that fundraise? So that was announced this week. It was £950,000, and you raised it from Haatch, and I think, as you said, Aviva through Founders Factory. Can you talk a bit about that process? How did you find it?
Fundraising. Yeah, so fundraising was good. So we've got some amazing investors, Haatch, Exponential Science Foundation, and then Aviva through Founders Factory, and then some amazing angels. The process was good. It was kind of first time doing fundraising, which was fun. It's the first time I think I've had a role that's had some level of like rejection to it. So that's always interesting. You have really good conversations with people, then suddenly they just like ignore you. So that's good. But then we got there in the end. We really wanted a blend of people that understood the AI landscape, Marcel, one of the people that came in from on the Haatch side, is like a genius when it comes to machine learning. There's not a top university I don't think he hasn't been to and got the highest mark possible. And then we've got strategic investors like Aviva, again, as we want to move into the actual product building stuff. We've got the biggest insurer in the UK, kind of really bought in to our vision and our journey, which is good.
Amazing, yeah. It's, fundraising is a very different process, especially from, you and I both have product backgrounds. It's a very different process, speaking to investors, getting rejected, building decks. I wanted to talk about your background. You said you've been working in insurance, but most recently in a product-focused role. You're now the COO of Meshed. Is that right?
Yeah, as you'll know as better than anyone. You've got to be very versatile when you're a founder at the early stages. I think the COO job title makes the most sense when you're speaking to insurers and the FCA. So that's what it landed on. I think I was CPO, but then people think of like Chief People Officer. So just gone for operations. But anything like any day of the week, I'm CPO, CFO, COO.
Bit of anything.
Yeah, jack of all trades, master of none at the moment.
How has that product experience changed the way that you're focused or building Meshed?
I think it's really, really helpful. I try and kind of impart this learnings onto Luca as well, our broker. So I've done a lot of broking as well with him. So just like actually doing the job. Like normally you're like, as a product person, speaking to someone like Luca to find out the jobs to be done. But now I'm like actually doing them and then working with Luca and being like, oh yeah, it'd be much better if we changed this, or it'd be much better if we did this, or yeah, if we had document extraction in here, actually that would be much more impactful because I'm spending 7 minutes per quote on that. And just like pushing that mindset of like, where are you spending the most amount of time doing things? And then what does this look like when we scale? And then people are like coming up with good suggestions. So I think having that product head is good. And I'm trying to spend more time doing that because I was actually pulled away from a lot of the product stuff with just general ad hoc founder stuff.
Just trying to, fight fires. I want to talk, the £950,000 that you raised, do you have a plan or a vision or of how that's going to be spent? Is that going to be invested in product development, expansion, growing the team? Can you give me a bit more on that?
Yeah, so it's growing out the team. So I think we've got an amazing team now. We basically have like an extent, like between me, Mark and Vince, we can do like the 3 roles, the majority of the roles that need to be done in the business. That's why I think we require a strong team to start. And then we've hired 3 people to kind of supplement that. So this money is to pay for that team. We needed to invest some money into our brand. So we believe like going forward, with how quick it is to build things, I think brand's going to become a really big thing. So we want to invest a bit of time and money into that. And then, just giving us a bit of runway, like really, like we just want to focus on building. We've got our core staff now and just like keeping them going for the next kind of 18 months before we next have to raise is going to be strong. And
can we talk about on that brand piece? What do you think is worth investing in? Is it your public profiles as founders? Is it getting a really nice new name or logo? What does that kind of brand investment look like?
I think it's a combination of the both. We're trying to do more on the personal brand stuff as well because we think that's really important at the moment. I think you more than anyone kind of embody that, right? It's about building out your own personal brand. So I think that's been good. Also, just as a company, we're trying to do more in terms of all different types of content, educational content, like behind the scenes content. I think that's really important. And also just look and feel. If you're coming out as this new company, and you look a bit like you were made on PowerPoint, it's trust. At the end of the day, we're asking businesses that are turning over millions of pounds, have tens of staff, to trust us with the protection of their business. So we need to look and feel like we are like legit. So I think it's a mindset thing that you really need to tap into. Yeah,
I definitely think that it's becoming increasingly important for all businesses and startups to build that sort of brand moat. But also I think when you're working with like established big businesses in a regulated industry, it's definitely gonna go a long way if you've got a good brand to lean back on. And are you just focused on the UK primarily, or are you looking to across Europe as well?
Yeah, eyes just on the UK right now in these first couple of years. I think the UK market is big enough. I think if you look across like the top 50 brokers in the UK, there's a considerable amount doing more than 50 million in revenue, quite a few doing more than 100 million in revenue in the UK. So I think there is a big enough pool here for us to swim in for now. And then, I don't know. where would be beyond that. And I've done a lot of insurance in America. People think, oh yeah, go and launch in America. Every single state is pretty much different. So it's like you launch state by state. And then Europe, you've got different markets. So I think the Netherlands is quite similar to us in terms of broker landscape, but somewhere like Spain isn't very dominated by bank assurance and stuff like that. So yeah, we'd have to really kind of pick our markets carefully.
Yeah, and what about other use cases? So you're very much focused on, so you said like browser agents and primarily focused on brokers generally. Do you see more use cases for AI within the insurance industry, and do you have a vision to fill those gaps as well, or do you want to be laser focused on your kind of your core vertical at the moment?
Yeah, core vertical, simply because that's what we do. When we step into doing our own products, then yes, we'll look at how can this help the underwriting piece. Again, it's at the level that we'll be looking at. There's a lot of documentation, a lot of gathering information. So it's how do you speed up that process of getting the information from the underwriter to the broker to the customer and back through that chain. And I think obviously these are language models, and a lot of that is email based off, and that is just text and words. So yeah, how can we speed up those processes? I also think claims, like at the end of the day, you might spend £40,000 on your insurance, and at the end of the day, you get sent 7 PDF documents and a promise that if something goes wrong, you're going to get paid out. So when it does come to claim time, I think having amazing experiences there. Am I going to have voice agents answer the phone when you have a claim? Absolutely not. I worked in high net worth insurance, and we had some like really like horrible claims, and you need kind of humans, and you need that emotional layer there. But if you go and speak to a claims person, they'll tell you how much of their job is just admin. So it's about looking at their workflow. If you break down their week of 35 hours, what's that spent in? And if a large majority of that is certain tasks, yeah, exactly. We will be looking to replace and augment their experience. So again, they can spend more time with customers, but also just keeping customers updated. The amount of times, even just sending an email to a customer saying there's no update today is an update, but they're not left in the lurch about what's going on. Is my car, where's my van? Is it being repaired? What's going on? I need this back on the road. So yeah, definitely claims and probably underwriting at some point too.
Yeah, there's a lot to work on across the whole insurance industry generally. In the last couple of minutes, I want to ask 2 more questions. Penultimate one, what's been the biggest mistake that you've made building Meshed?
I spent a lot of money on some stickers right at the start. I think that was my biggest mistake. Yeah, we do have a pothole page where we write down all of the things that have gone wrong. But yeah, I think we're quite good. We're quite fortunate. Mark's done this before, and I've worked in a lot of early stage startups. So when before we set up this business, we filled our whole pothole pages with things that we've seen gone wrong before, so that we don't hit those potholes on this road. So we've been quite cautious. I'm a very cautious person. I literally have a whiteboard in the corner of my room here that I literally write down our biggest problems, and I don't rub them off until it's solved. So yeah, I'm always trying to look ahead to make sure we're not going to hit anything. But yeah, maybe the stickers.
How much did you spend on them?
I don't want to say. Our investors probably watch this.
How many did you buy?
Not that many. It's just they're made out of paper. I'll send you some. I'll send everyone some. But no, we've got some new ones. But yeah, that's probably the biggest mistake I've made. Also, to be honest, actually, I was meant to send something to an insurance partner we're working on. And I worked on that, and I was procrastinating on that, and it actually took me too long to send it. So that's probably actually maybe a bigger mistake than
okay. Final question: what advice would you give to somebody who is thinking about taking the leap and building their own business?
Someone literally asked me this question on LinkedIn yesterday. I think, and I told him, just like really like nail down what problem you're trying to solve. Like you and I, as you said, are product people. It's like ideas are cheap. Like just really validate that. Like, is that the best thing? There's this amazing Simpsons episode where Homer goes to he meets his brother and builds a car. And the engineers basically just build whatever Homer says. And then you come up with this ugly car and his brother's car company goes bust. And that's what kind of happens if you just listen to people about what they want, as opposed to like digging in and finding out those problems. So really kind of try and uncover a problem. I spent all of my life in insurance, so I've seen a lot of problems, so I can do it. And then now it's like, it's so cheap to build something. I don't expect people to build fully fledged products in Replit or Lovable or whatever. But just try and build something noddy, test it, speak to other people, go on Reddit, find a problem, find a community, and try and build something small and go from there.
Amazing, great advice. Well, look, Jake, thank you so much for joining me. Let's stay in touch.
No, 100%.
Best of luck with building it all.
Wicked. Nice one. Cheers. See you later.
Cheers, Jake. Bye.
Bye bye.